So today we're going to repot and perhaps take some cuttings off of what's a common spider plant. Every once in a while our plants get so big that they get a little bit unwieldy. So you can see this has got a lot of extra growth on here, and if I were to buy this plant right now as it is, I could probably make another 1, another 2, another 3, another 4 plants out of just this one stalk, let alone the rest of those. So there's a couple different ways we can get to propagate these, and we're going to work on 2 different ways just to see which one works best. This is so big it is even stuck amongst some of the other plants. So let me pull that one out, and I'm going to put it up on a cart right behind us here. And again, you can get a good idea of how many different stalks are coming out of it. So I'm just going to work with this one, and with a little pruner, and you can use a scissor, doesn't much matter. I'm going to go all the way up right in here to the insert point and go ahead and clip it. And then you can get a pretty good idea there as to how many potential plants would be on there, from relatively small ones to a relatively large one. And these are nice as hangers, good hanging plants, because as you can see they droop off over the side. So I'm going to start with the little one, and on this one you can see where the next little growth starts. So I'm going to cut just above that. I'm probably not going to do with anything on the bottom, that's kind of tiny, but I'm just going to make my cut right about there. And I'll put the big piece down, and you can see that I've got something to work with here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this piece here and I'm going to put it in one of our, what we call our plugs. These are made out of a coconut fiber, and after a long time, these are biodegradable, so these will actually decompose. And what I'm going to look at doing is taking the end of this spider plant, and you can see there's a tiny little hole. That doesn't work real well, so we're going to do it from the bottom up. You put my clipper down, and we're going to use a tweezer. I'm going to put my spider plant down, and this tweezer will insert from the bottom, and it will come out the top. And I'm going to grab a hold of this piece, and look at pulling it through so that we get a good amount of the bottom part that gets actually right here into our coconut fiber plug. You can see there's a piece that sticks out the end, and that's just going to be in our way. So just going to clip that off, and then we're not going to put this out for sale right away because we're just going to make sure that this works. So we have these little 6-pack plug holders. I'm just going to go ahead and drop it in here, and then later on I'll do a few more, and we'll put this in the back of the store, put it into a tray, make sure this stays nice and wet, and we'll see if the plug might work better than just planting one in soil. So that's option number 1. Option number 2, I think what I'm going to do, let's see, let's get to this one that's a little bit larger. And as I did before, I'm going to clip it. You can see there's nothing going on in here, so I'm going to clip this one right at the end of its growth. Now if I were going to plug this one, I would cut it right about there so I have something to pull through. I'm not going to plug it, I'm just going to plant it. So I'm just going to cut it right to the base of the plant. And then depending upon the size, I'm going to use a 3-inch pot here. We'll just go ahead and we're going to just pot this in some dirt and see if this works as well or better than the plug. So grab some dirt here. And you can see for drainage, this little pot has holes in the bottom. If you want, you can take a little piece of paper towel and just put it in the bottom to cover those holes. I'm really not going to worry about that right now. I'm just going to go ahead and throw some dirt in there, and you can see it will come through the holes for a while until they bind themselves. Now the little white fibers in here, the little white balls, are actually perlite, and that's sort of a little foam ball, and it helps with the moisture. If you should overwater, it will suck up some of that moisture and help prevent you from doing the overwatering, and then slowly it will release it later. So I'm just going to stick that piece in here on top of my soil and add a little more soil. Because I'm doing this over a container, I don't have to worry about being pretty, because anything that I drop will fall right back into the soil bucket. And then I'm going to go ahead and just press that down. So if we are lucky, each one of these will eventually become one of those, and we'll be able to have a very large spider plant in our home. And then you can see there's a lot more on these that we can work with. We don't want to take too many off, because again, if someone were to purchase this, I'd want them to be able to go ahead and do that on their own. But I'll work later on doing some plugging or some planting on those, and we'll see which one works better, the plug or the plant, and perhaps they'll both work just as good. Eventually we will put these out onto the floor to sell separately. A lot of people don't like a really large plant, or they just want to start from their own. So that's two different ways of propagating the spider plant, one using a plug, the other one just pointing in the soil. We'll see which one works better. Okay, so we've got several of these put together. We have 3 of them in plugs. We have 3 of them that are in smaller pots, and a larger one that's in a larger pot. We're going to go ahead and water them. The plugs, as you can see, are in a spongy kind of material. So we need to be really careful when we go ahead and we put those in. And I'm just going to, if you do this at home, you want to do it over a tray or do it over a saucer, or if you're outside in your yard, it doesn't much matter. Get it nice and moist, and then we're going to let it sit a little bit there in some of the water. And on the smaller ones, just go ahead and water those over one of our trays. You normally water until you get water coming through the bottom of the little drain holes, and then you know it's all the way through and it'll start to settle. Again, you can see those little white pieces of perlite there that help with the drainage. So we'll go ahead and do one. Second one, and then we'll come back and we'll check these every day and see how much they suck up the water. And do the third little one. And if you don't mind a little bit of maintenance, you can actually put these in a terrarium. The thing about the terrarium, as you can see from the large plant, is these are pretty aggressive growers. So if you're going to have it in a terrarium, you need to come back there frequently and make sure it doesn't overtake your terrarium. And then the larger one will just give that a good dose. All of the soil that I put in here is dry, so the first time we do it, we need to make sure everything is moist, and you can see it's already going through, so that's going to be nice and wet. And it'll be a while before we put these out into the shop for sale, because we obviously want to make sure that they take. So that is the last one, and we are good to go. So we've clipped them, we plugged them, we planted them, we've watered them, and if you do that at home, you should have a nice bunch of spider plants here in the next couple days.